On December 24th, 1945, something happened in the hills of West Virginia that would haunt a family for the rest of their lives. A fire. But not just any fire. A fire that would consume a home, erase 5 children, and leave behind questions that would never be answered. George and Jenny Sodder tucked their children into bed that night. They had no idea it would be the last time they would see them. Around 1 a.m., Jenny woke to the smell of smoke. Thick, choking. Everywhere. She screamed for her family. When George rushed to the children's bedroom, he found nothing but darkness and flames. The staircase, blocked by fire, the windows, unreachable, and the ladder he always kept outside, gone. In the chaos that followed, 5 children vanished. When morning came, investigators sifted through the blackened rubble. Officials were quick with their conclusion. The fire had killed the 5 missing children. Case closed. But George and Jenny knew something was desperately wrong. Something didn't add up. Because where were the remains? Experts have long understood a simple, terrible fact. Ordinary house fires cannot completely destroy human bones. Bones are nearly indestructible in heat. Teeth, though, among the strongest structures in the human body, routinely survive even the most intense flames. A skull, a vertebra, even a single fragment of bone. Something should have remained, but the investigators found nothing. Later, forensic analysis would confirm what the Sodders already suspected. The fire had not burned hot enough. Had not burned long enough. It could not have reduced 5 human bodies to ash. This realization brought a terrifying question into focus. If the children didn't die in that fire, then where did they go? The authorities blamed faulty electrical wiring. A simple accident, they claimed. But George Sodder knew the truth. Just months before the fire, he had completely rewired his entire house. The electrical system had been professionally inspected. It was in perfect condition. How could newly installed wiring suddenly fail so catastrophically? As George replayed that terrible night in his mind, disturbing details began to emerge. Details that investigators had either missed or deliberately ignored. The more he thought about them, the more certain he became. This was no accident. Someone had deliberately set this fire. When the fire erupted, George immediately reached for the telephone. He needed help, but the phone was dead. When investigators examined the line, they made a chilling discovery. It hadn't been damaged by the fire. It had been cut, deliberately severed with a cutting tool. The clean edges didn't lie. But there was something else. Something even more disturbing. Jenny remembered a strange phone call around 12:30 a.m. 30 minutes before the fire, a woman's voice on the other end. Laughing, strangely, unnervingly, she never identified herself. The call went silent. At the time, Jenny thought nothing of it, just a wrong number, but now it took on a sinister meaning. Was someone checking if the family was awake? Was this part of a carefully orchestrated operation? Just minutes before Jenny smelled smoke, she heard something. A loud thud, something heavy striking the roof. She heard it, then nothing. She dismissed it and returned to sleep. But minutes later, smoke filled the house. At the time, these two events seemed unrelated. They were not. Later, discoveries would connect them in ways that suggested something sinister had happened above their heads that night. Something planned. George Sodder always kept a ladder beside his house. On the night of the fire, it vanished. In the chaos and darkness, with children trapped upstairs, that missing ladder made rescue impossible. Days later, it was discovered far away, in a nearby field. How did it get there? Who moved it? And why? To George, there was only one conclusion. Someone wanted to make sure the children could not escape, as if orchestrated by an invisible hand. Everything that could have saved the children malfunctioned simultaneously. Two of George's trucks, both in working condition hours earlier, refused to start. The ladder was gone. The telephone was severed. Help never came. Hours passed before the fire. Fire department even arrived. By then, the house was nothing but smoldering ash. This wasn't coincidence. This was a pattern. And patterns suggest planning. Months before the fire, an insurance agent had approached George Sodder with an unusual proposition. Buy more fire insurance, the agent insisted. George refused. And according to George's account, the agent responded with words that would haunt him forever. "You'll regret this when your house burns down." At the time, it seemed like an aggressive sales tactic, nothing more. But after December 24th, those words echoed like a prophecy. Was it a coincidence, or was it a warning that someone knew exactly what was coming? Some believed George Sodder's outspoken criticism of Benito Mussolini had made him enemies connected to organized crime. In the months and years after the fire, something remarkable happened. People reported seeing the children. A woman claimed she spotted them at a hotel, accompanied by unfamiliar adults. Another witness described seeing children matching their descriptions in a passing car. None of these claims were ever confirmed, but each report kept hope alive that the children were still alive. About a year after the fire, investigators made a discovery that changed everything. When the snow melted near the ruins of the house, they found something. A rubber-like object, unfamiliar, mysterious. An expert examination revealed its horrifying purpose. It was an incendiary device, a pineapple bomb, a weapon designed to start fires. Suddenly, the bus driver's account made terrible sense. He had seen glowing objects being thrown toward the house. He had witnessed fireballs in the night. He had seen an attack. The official story collapsed. The accidental electrical fire? A lie. This was deliberate. This was planned. Nearly 20 years passed. 1960. Jenny Sodder received a letter. Inside was a photograph. A man who bore a striking resemblance to her son, Louis. The message was brief, cryptic, unsettling. "Louis Sodder, I love Brother Frankie." Nothing else. No explanation, no return address, no identity. A private investigator was hired. The trail went cold, nothing was ever confirmed. But the question remained. Was this truly one of her missing children? Or a cruel hoax designed to reopen wounds that would never heal? George and Jenny Sodder did something extraordinary. They refused to let their children be forgotten. They erected a billboard along a nearby road. Photographs of the 5 missing children plastered across it. A reward offered. Have you seen them? Year after year, decade after decade, they searched. Every rumor was investigated, every lead was followed, but nothing led to answers. George died in 1969, still searching, still wondering, still heartbroken. Jenny lived longer. She wore black for years, mourning children whose fate remained unknown. She kept the billboard standing, a silent plea that never received a reply. When she finally passed away in 1989, the billboard came down. But the mystery never left. So, what happened on December 24th, 1945? Did 5 children die in an accidental fire? Or were they taken away while flames burned as a perfect distraction? Despite decades of investigation, despite theories and rumors and fragments of evidence, no definitive answer has ever been proven. The case remains open, unsolved. The Sodder children. Mystery remains one of America's most haunting unsolved cases. A story that refuses to be forgotten. Because some mysteries are too dark to ever be fully illuminated, and some questions can never be answered.